Good afternoon, everybody. It is Tuesday night here in Midtown Manhattan. We are right outside of the Steven Schwartzman building, next to 42nd Street, Bryant Park. And today we are going to be talking about Monday.com. Monday.com is a work OS software company. We are going to be talking about them today. They just recently went public, and they're posting very, very strong revenue gains quarter over quarter, not yet profitable. We will be talking about that and more on the stream. Tyree, what's up, Tyree? Dante Rose, Soho is here. Maya, what's up, Maya? Good to see you. The ABX girl, Hunter Butler, good to see you as well. Joey says hi. Hey, Allie's here, says hi, everybody. What's up, Allie? Hope you're well. Hope everybody's having a good Tuesday. It is a cold, frigid night here in New York, but I think I'm dressed a little bit more appropriately than last night. Joey, I see you. Rosie says, hola, como estas? Rob H is here. What's up, Rob? Always a pleasure to see you, Rob. Hey, Maya says, it's cold out. Hope you put on warm clothes. I do have a nice jacket on today. Jetstar says, nice to be with you, Tom. You as well. Wet Soup says, hey, what's up, Wet Soup? Rob H. Rosie says, como estas? Muy bien, y tú? Como estas, Rosie? Hey, Sally's here, says hi, Tom. Brandy is here, says hello, Tom. What's up, Brandy? Spencer says, greetings from Silicon Valley. Love Silicon Valley. So speaking of Silicon Valley, we're going to be talking about a software company today called Monday.com. They recently went public. They actually rebranded themselves in 2017 to Monday.com. And one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this company in particular is I think at least for me, I think I'm noticing a trend in the space of low code or no code architecture. So we're going to be talking about that today on the stream. Ibrahim Azam says, I'm here. What's up, Ibrahim? Hope you had a good day at school today, my friend. Melee says, hi, Tom. Good evening. What's up, Melee? Santa Monica Rodriguez says, you're on a little earlier today. Caught me by surprise. Yeah, hopefully we can finish up the stream at a reasonable hour and then take the train back at a decent time. Sunshine After Rain says, hello, everybody. How are you, Sunshine? Santa Monica Rodriguez, good to see you. Melee, Ibrahim Azam, Destructionist says, happy Tuesday. And of course, we have Ken Kramer. Always good to see you, Ken. So we are directly outside the Steven Schwartzman building. So the main New York Public Library. One of my favorite buildings in the entire New York City is right here. And Steven Schwartzman is a big, big titan on Wall Street, which made the majority of his money in LBOs or leveraged buyouts. So when you think about Steven Schwartzman, you could think about BlackRock, Blackstone. Very cool building. The architecture is breathtaking here as we look out on 42nd Street and 5th Avenue. Hey, Charlie Richardson is here. What's up, Charlie? Good to have you. Sally is here. Ibrahim Azam says, I didn't have school, Tom. I'm on Thanksgiving break. Oh, yeah, that's right. See, now that I'm out of school, I completely forget everything about school. So happy Thanksgiving break. David says, hello from Salt Lake City, Utah. What's up, everybody from Salt Lake City? Hope you're well. Spencer says, probably are thousands of software companies out there. Indeed. Alex says, did you ever get COVID with all the traveling you do? I have not. M Wall on the Run says, hi, Tom. Did you do the roll call yet? I'm present. M Wall, what's up? M Wall on the Run is a good friend of the channel. Good to have you here. Lee says 64 degrees feels like 62 in Miami Beach. You know what? I was seeing a lot of posts of the falling iguanas. So usually in Miami Beach, when it gets below a certain level or a certain temperature, the iguanas actually fall from the trees and they're essentially paralyzed. But not to worry, they're not dead. They're just sort of frozen, quite literally. And then once the temperature returns back to a more favorable temperature for those cold-blooded creatures, they are then back to normal. So I'll show you guys the front of the New York Public Library, and then we will head down Fifth Avenue and call it a day. Sunshine After Rain says, wow, interesting. Yeah, there's always stories in Miami about, you know, every year when it gets cold, I think the threshold is about 45, 50 degrees. The iguanas quite literally freeze, and they fall literally right out of the trees. So over here is the brand new library, and there's actually a beautiful observation deck where you can work remotely, you can read books and do all types of stuff on the top of that building. I was actually doing a lot of work out of that library today. You can use the Bloomberg terminals for free if you go to the 5th floor on the International Business Center. You can use all of the Bloomberg terminals, which is a piece of financial software that is very good. You could use it all for free right there. So this is 51st Street and Library Way. And if you look straight down, you could actually see the bridge that will take you to Grand Central Station, Grand Central Terminal. Melee says beautiful architecture. Penelope says happy Taco Tuesday, Tom. Taco Cat spells backwards is Taco Cat. Very cool. Nady says hola. Valentina says hi, Tom. I hope you're having a good night. Right back at you, Valentina. Good to see you. Leida, hey, Leida's here. We're back in New York. Says hello, Tom, and everybody in the chat. Happy Thanksgiving week to those celebrating. Thank you, Leida. Appreciate that. Hope you're having a good day, good week so far. It's going to be a short week for pretty much everybody. We have Thanksgiving coming up here on Thursday. So tomorrow I do have to work, but it's pretty much just like everybody's leaving early from the office. All of my clients are pretty much out of the office all week. So it should be a nice long weekend. And I'm not sure if we will be in the city for Thanksgiving. I may be out on Long Island, but not sure. That is to be determined. Hey, Out and About is here. What's up, Out and About? So we are now overlooking the Salesforce Tower and Bank of America Tower. And Salesforce, the CEO is Mark Benioff, founder of Salesforce, and they specialize in CRM tools, their customer relationship management software. GGMYC says, good evening, everybody. What's up, GGMYC? Good to see you. Santa Monica Rodriguez is super excited. This week is short. Tomorrow will be our Friday. Bidzita Lopez says, happy Thanksgiving. Nice to see you back in New York City. Thank you, Bidzita Lopez. Appreciate you. Out and About. Mady says, saludos from Argentina. What's up from all of our Argentinian viewers? Lena Sandoval says, hi, Tom and everybody. David says, I bet many of the iguanas end up as road pizza. Hilarious. Ibrahim Azam, how are you? Hope you're well, Ibrahim Azam. Fresh Start says, what building are we looking at? So this one is the Bank of America Tower. So BAML. Alex says, do you have a financial planner or do everything yourself? I do everything myself. Personally, Alex, I do everything myself. What about you? Vinny Castellano says, Tom, wanted to thank you for all your insight and dedication. You the man. Hey, Vinny Castellano, thank you for saying that. I really do appreciate that. That's very nice of you. You know it's cold in New York when you could see the steam pouring out of the grates here. The manhole covers. Fresh Start. We're going to see the H&M building tonight, so we're going to walk past it. But for now, let's head up Fifth Avenue, because I want to check out the Plaza Hotel. We didn't have time to go up to the Plaza Hotel yesterday because I had to jump on the train real quick. I had to go to Penn Station. But this is the Chrysler building. And if you walk all the way down there, you know what? Let's do one lap around Grand Central Station. We haven't been to Grand Central Station in a while on the stream. David says, that's interesting. When do you think it's time for someone to ask for professional financial advice? I think it just depends on like what your goals are, right? If you're not interested in self-managing, and if you're not interested in sort of learning about finance and you don't have any interest in it, then I would definitely leave it to a professional. You just got to make sure you hire somebody that is ethical So if you are going to hire a financial planner, make sure he is a fiduciary. Because then they have the fiduciary responsibility to look out for your best interest by law. Hey, what's up, Quants? Good to see you. Fresh Starts is now, we're on 42nd Street. Yeah, we're on 42nd Street headed east. Headed east tonight. But we haven't been in Grand Central in a long time, so let's head down. We'll take a lap. Valentina says the city looks great as always, even when it's freezing. I know. So we're passing, right on the right is PwC, so Price Waterhouse Cooper. Right to the right. I'll show you guys. And I believe it's CIBC World Markets as well. So right here, CIBC World Markets and PwC. Price Waterhouse Cooper. And here we're gonna have a great view of so right ahead, we could see the Grand Central Terminal. And I'll put the camera up a little bit so you guys can see the Chrysler Building. Alex says, what advice do you have for lump sum retirement and taxes for investing the money? So Alex, anything if you're, I'm assuming you're nearing retirement age. I think if you're nearing retirement age, it's actually best to probably contact a financial professional that's a fiduciary, because that's something you really don't want to screw up. So based upon your situation, I would need to know like exactly what situation you're in, but I really can't advise on that because I am not a licensed financial planner. But the only thing that I would say is, for me personally, I would just make sure you mitigate your taxes as much as possible, because that is the number one expense of any American in their life is taxes. So I would try to mitigate that as much as possible, whether that be through some sort of trust or something like that. Miss Dash 101. Miss Dash 101 says, hi Tom and everybody. How are you? Doing very well. Fresh Start says, what is the color of the Empire State Building? I'm not sure what the color is today, but we're definitely going to check it out. I'm just not sure what it is today. Got a lot of characters out. Hey, Tamara. What's up, Tamara? Good to see you. Hope you're well. What's up, George? Roy S. says, good evening. Morning from my side of the world. Tom and Mods, what is up? Hey, Michelle Cunningham says, hello, Tom. How are you? I'm very well, Michelle. We're going to take a quick walk through the Grand Central Terminal. Hey, Scooter Dooders is sending good vibes. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate that. Hello from Brazil, bro, says 041. Hope everybody's doing well in Brazil. So we're here at Vanderbilt Avenue and East 42nd Street near Pershing Square. Pershing Square. Hey, L the Original's here. What's up, L the Original? Good to see you. George is here. What's up, George? Good to see you as always. Hope everything's going well for you, L the Original. Always good to see you. Always good to hear from you. So if we look straight ahead, this is Pershing Square. And Bill Ackman is actually a hedge fund manager, or the owner and senior hedge fund manager at Pershing Square. Pershing Square Capital. And Bill Ackman is famous for his billion-dollar bet during the coronavirus crash, where he made $1 billion for his firm by buying swaps on the S&P 500. Kim Grant is here, says, hey y'all, what's up, Kim? L the Original says, I'm doing good. Happy Thanksgiving, L. Out and About says, you could have skateboarded here. You were back to familiar grounds in New York City. Yeah, so Out and About. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow. Today, I had to go into the office and do some meetings and stuff. But we'll definitely do it tomorrow. Hey, Ruby Falcone is here. Says, good evening. I'm recovering from shoulder surgery So thanks from the live stream. Hey, Ruby, we're wishing you a very, very speedy recovery. Everybody from the Wall Street Skateboard channel is wishing you a very speedy recovery. Lisa says, what is the white building? So we're in front of Grand Central Terminal, but right behind us is the new One Vanderbilt building. The brand new One Vanderbilt building. Christian Hansen says, what Tom said, I concur. Happy holidays. What's up, Christian? Soho Guy says, yo, Tom, you can get Larry Fink's autograph. Is Larry Fink here today? That'd be kind of cool. I know, yeah, out and about. I think my face would freeze off skateboarding in this weather. So we're gonna try it tomorrow. We're definitely gonna try it tomorrow. But let's venture inside Grand Central Station. I haven't been in here in a while. I just gotta put my mask on or else everybody's gonna have a field day. But this is the main entrance of One Vanderbilt here. Ruby Falcone, good to see you. Hope you're well. Please recover as soon as possible. Hey, Michelle McGraw is here. The one and only Michelle. What's up, Michelle? Good to have you. Christian says it's not cold unless it's below 0. Celsius or Fahrenheit? Fahrenheit below 0. You can't. I don't think I would go outside. This is when it's cold outside, wear the mask to stay warm. That's a good point, actually. That is actually a good point. So let's check out Grand Central Station. Hopefully we don't buffer.
Thank you for writing us.
Hey, Swing Boxes is here. Good to see you, Swing Boxes. But everybody, so the topic for tonight's stream, we're going to be talking about a software company called Monday.com. And the ticker symbol is MNDY. Monday.com. And one of the reasons why I wanted to highlight this particular company, because it runs on a new sort of architecture, which is a low or no code architecture, which I think is going to be very disruptive. And it actually competes with the company we talk about on the stream all the time, Atlassian, Asana, and the like.
Connection near Canaan. Stanford first stop at the Wofford track 27, the upper level.
Hey, Destructionist is here. What's up, Destructionist?
Connection.
RJ, what's going on?
Stanford first stop, the Wofford track 27, the upper level. Last call.
Bro code architecture sounds cool. Awesome. These chandeliers are always amazing in here. Fantastic. Hey, we got Brittany McMurdy here. Happy Thanksgiving week. Brittany, good to see you as always. Michelle says, I used to use the Monday app for scheduling with my job. Yeah, so Michelle McGraw, Monday.com, it's an extremely fast growing company. And they actually rebranded themselves in 2017 to Monday.com. But one of the things that I will say, and this is sort of the second reason why I wanted to highlight this company, Monday.com, is that they're growing their revenues extremely fast. I think year over year on their last earnings report, which was November 11th, their revenue was up 95% to $83 million. And this is on the back of strong demand for Monday's no-code software tools. But a lot of the times we'll see with these very high revenue growth, turbocharged software companies is at first there's no earnings. So this company right now is actually not earning any money. So even though the revenue growth is there, for me, it's not worthy of an investment because it has negative EPS. So it has negative earnings on a per share basis, or earnings per share. So we'll talk about that a little bit more. Caddy says, beautiful light. Wow, so this newsstand is reopened. This used to be closed due to the pandemic. I always used to buy the Investor's Business Daily in here if they were out at Penn Station. Hey, Joyce Carter. What's up, Joyce? Good to see you, Joyce. Michelle Cunningham says it looks beautiful in there. It's really beautiful here. So this Hudson newsstand used to be completely closed for the pandemic. They closed down the entire thing. Penelope, what's up, Penelope? Valentina says, do you live in Manhattan, Tom? So I used to live in Manhattan. I used to live right on 59th Street, but then I moved to Miami. So I now live in North Miami Beach. So I'm back in New York City visiting family. My family is from New York. Laytha says, yes, businesses are coming back slowly. That's great news. I definitely agree. New York's coming back. I've said that from the beginning. I'm very bullish, optimistic on New York. Laytha says they are robbing cannabis pharmacies right and left here in Northern California. Is that true? Wow. Hey, Dave in Maine says such an amazing place. What's up, Dave? Ibrahim Azam says, will you move back to New York after winter? So my main residence is going to be in North Miami Beach, but I'm going to spend about 1 week per month in New York, depending on my clients' needs. If they need me here in New York more than that, then I'll be back in New York a little bit more. But my main residence is going to be in New York, but I'll probably be in the city 1 week per month. I think that's a good balance. Maybe more, maybe less, depending on clients' needs, holidays, and things like that. I've noticed a lot more people now in Grand Central Station. I remember I used to do these live streams and it was absolutely dead. Joyce Carter says New York is making a big comeback. Absolutely. Laytha says they are robbing everything. Fendi, Lululemon, Nordstrom, 30 criminal mobs all at once in California, says Laytha. Yikes, that's not good at all. I wonder why that is. Christian says San Francisco has large groups of looters. Yeah, I mean, San Francisco, it's horrible how they let that city go to hell like that. Horrible. And a lot of my friends that, you know, have very, very high paying jobs in Silicon Valley, all of them have either moved to San Antonio, Miami, or to New York. So I think you're going to see a big brain drain out of Silicon Valley, and all of them are going to move to cities like New York City, Miami, and San Antonio. At least that's what all my buddies that work in tech did. Because people aren't going to put up with that. You know, how can you raise a family in a place like San Francisco when, you know, people are popping themselves with heroin needles every day in the streets? But, you know, I guess that'll be a topic for a different stream. Hey, NYC Cherry Groove is here. What's up, NYC Cherry Groove? Happy Thanksgiving to you too. I'll be back here in the city for about a week. So it's good to be back. Cherry Groove, any plans for Thanksgiving? Anything exciting or what? What's going on? Here, I'll give you guys a view of Grand Central from this side. Joey says, Tom, did you set up your iMac? Yeah, so Joey, I did. So I set it up. It's ready to go at my place in North Miami Beach. So we should be looking forward to some streams. Hey SV, how are you? Ibrahim says, I also wish to leave Northern California and move to New York someday. You should definitely do it, Ibrahim. We welcome you here in New York. Cherry Groove is here. What's up, Cherry Groove? Ron says, good evening, sunshine after rain. Hope you are doing well this evening. What's up, Ron? Photos from around New York says Grand Central. What's up, photos? Good to see you here. Ron says, hello, Tom. Love Grand Central Station. I'll show you guys the roof. Very cool. Maria says, hello from Sao Paulo, Brazil. Sally says, Penn Station is nice as well. Fresh Start says, Tom, you're missing my comments. Hey, War Walker says, evening, Tomcat. How are you? What's up, War Walker? We are doing a little bit of a walking tour of Grand Central Station today. Christian says, a lot of California will eventually turn into the Wild West no-go zone. Well, hope not. Hope not, but we'll see. Jetstar says, no mention Not to mention the homeless in San Francisco, indeed. Hey, Zap Allen's here. What's up, Zap? Happy Thanksgiving. And we got our pal Jimmy Anderson says, cheers, my dude. So many commercials. So many commercials shot there. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Jimmy Anderson's 31st birthday is today, everybody. So let's give him a happy birthday in the chat to our pal Jimmy Anderson. Happy birthday, my friend. Ron says, great view. Thanks for the stream. No problem. Joyce says, Austin is a big tech city as well. NYC Cherry Groove says, I am having 10 people at my place, Tom. We'll enjoy it, Cherry Groove. I think this is going to be a Thanksgiving where things are back to normal now, so I'm optimistic. Santa Monica Rodriguez says, yeah, I want to leave California ASAP. So we'll walk to the other side of Grand Central Station, and I want to show you guys the... there's a speck on the ceiling where they actually left it, and they didn't paint over it. And this is the original like tar spot that was left on Grand Central Station back when smoking was permitted, or smoking was allowed in the city, in the station. So they showed it, and they left it just to show what the ceiling looked like back in the day when you had all of the commuters smoking in the Grand Central Station. So I'll show you. It's this little spot right here. It's a little black dot.
Attention customers.
And if you zoom in on it, the reason why it's black is because of all the tar and the smoke from cigarettes and cigars that used to be smoked in the station. So if you want to see it for yourself, it's right up there. Hey, EBITDA is here. What's up, EBITDA? Good to see you. Hopefully your deal went well. I remember you telling everybody on the stream you had a conference call. So hopefully that went well, EBITDA. Mike Skate TV says, I never knew that. Yeah, that's a little fun fact about New York. Fresh Start says, Tom, can you show me 432 Park Avenue? We'll definitely do that. Mr. Cold says, smoking is bad. Patrick Schultz says, hi. Joe Hernandez is here. What's up, Joe? Good to see you. NYC Cherry Groove says, Tom, did you use the skateboard as a down payment on your house? I did, Cherry Groove. Hilarious. Yeah, EBITDA says, man, that station never gets old. It's great here. Yeah, Joe Hernandez says smoking was everywhere back then. Me says, hey, Tom, a lot of happiness to you and yours. Why does Monday have major issues with short sales restrictions? Difficult to find shares of Monday to short, or fees to short or exorbitant. Be safe. Yeah, so I mean, I guess it just depends on your broker, right? So that's why a lot of people will have more than one broker, because essentially if you're trying to sell shares short, you literally have to borrow the shares from your broker dealer. And a lot of broker dealers won't have inventory of those shares. EBITDA says, it did. Thank you. Hopefully I can share the details sooner or later. Well, we're looking forward to it, EBITDA. EBITDA, today on the stream, we are talking about a software company called Monday. And one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about it today is because I think you're going to see a big shift towards a lot of demand for low code or no code architecture. And I think this is going to be very disruptive in the SMB space. So we've been talking about a company called Atlassian, which is actually an Australian software company, which also is like a work ops, DevOps sort of company. But I think Monday can make a lot of traction here. However, I do not think it's investable as of yet, because it's actually losing money on an EPS basis. Even though this last earnings report that came out, they grew their revenue 95% to about $83 million, but they're still negative on an EPS basis. So until they turn positive on their free cash flow, although they did have a positive free cash flow surprise on this last quarter, but their CFO, when I was on the earnings call, they advised that that'll probably be short-lived because they're investing a lot of money into R&D or research and development. which I think is a good thing, you know, as an early stage company. So we'll keep an eye on it. We'll see how this plays out. But at this point, it's not investable, but it's definitely on my list of things to look at. Joey says, did you see Nancy Pelosi's $25 million home purchase in Florida? Yeah, I did. So Nancy Pelosi and I will be neighbors. So I'll be sure to invite her over for dinner, and we'll do a Wall Street Skate Bro Pelosi insider trading stream. It says, always love Grand Central Station. The architecture is the best of all the stations in New York, in my opinion. I agree. Grand Central's beautiful. It's awesome.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Ibrahim says, Manhattan inspires me. Sunshine after rain. Ron says, let me know how that goes, Tom. We will. That was a joke, everybody. Just kidding. Just kidding. I don't want to get political. Just a joke. Photos. All right, now back to reality here in the real world of New York City. Photos from around New York says, I would tune in for a Pelosi collab stream. Sounds like engaging content. Hilarious. Joe Hernandez is negative of 4 of how many quarters? Negative on 4 of 4 quarters. Sonic More Music says, no snow yet. No snow at all. Thank God. Not a big fan of snow. Fresh Start says, Tom, have you ever been to the East Village? Yes, we go to the East Village quite often here on the stream. You know what, everybody? Let's make the stream a little bit longer tonight, because I want to hit up all my old spots. So let's hit up the Seagram building. That's my favorite building in the city. Hey, C. Mills says, whoa, Vanderbilt looks different. Yeah, so this is the one Vanderbilt building. I'll show you guys the very top of it. C. Miles, how are you? Hey, AMR Kandil says, hello from Egypt. What's up, everybody from Egypt? Welcome to New York. Egypt's a great place. I would love to visit one day. So this is the one Vanderbilt building. The Austin Tennis says, hey Tom, hope you're having a great night on foot. What's up, Austin Tennis? Good to see you. EBITDA says, tech companies sold off hard. I wonder if it was the quants dumping high PE stocks or funds taking profits. Any insight? Yeah, EBITDA, I mean, rates have moved up a little bit, right? So in a rate rising environment, you essentially have to run your discounted cash flow models a little bit, well, not differently, but you have to adjust for that rate adjustment, right? So when rates move up, the earnings of these tech companies are actually worth less now, projected into the future. So because a lot of these high PE names or high growth or high beta names, which tend to all be major software companies, they have projected earnings or projected profits into the future. So the majority of their earnings are actually predicated in the future for a lot of these companies. So when interest rates move up, you know, what does that mean? That means if rates move higher, these companies' earnings are now worth less in the future. So the market has to adjust for that. So I think as we move into a higher interest rate environment, we may see a little bit more volatility in these tech names on a relative basis. But, you know, if we looked at from a technical standpoint now, if we think about it from a technical standpoint, the majority of these software companies are coming off the backs of really, really strong earnings reports. So if you think about like an Atlassian, ticker symbol TEAM, you know, these stocks gapped up 10% and ran almost 30% during their month of their earnings reports. So all of them are very, very highly extended over their 50-day moving averages. So Atlassian came down, undercut its 50-day now. There was a little bit of buying towards the end of the day. But I think it's, you know, the environment remains the same. So I think this is a much needed normal sell-off. And hopefully, you know, this sets us up for a nice Santa Claus rally, so to speak, into the end of the year. But if you look under the hood in this market, a lot of these high growth stocks are getting clocked and getting knocked off hard. But the major indices are actually still near spitting distance of all-time record highs. And the S&P 500 actually was negative all day and turned to close positive. So very interesting. EBITDA is true. I wasn't sure if it was anything beyond IR increase. Yeah. EBITDA is the only thing I love about high rates is all my Bank of America stock will perform well. Indeed it will. EBITDA says hit up the Yale Club. Only if I get an invite. Hey, 05 says back in New York. Happy Thanksgiving, amigos. 05 is from Corpus Christi, Texas. Welcome everybody from Corpus Christi, Texas. Good to see you. Fresh Starts is Tom. 432 Park Avenue is in the distance. Mike Jones says, are you anywhere near the new ape sculpture on Wall Street? I am not. So this is Midtown East. We would have to go all the way downtown. So maybe we'll do that tomorrow. But right here in the center of your screen is 432 Park Avenue. Eric Texas says, hey Tom, have you talked about this $15 minimum corporate tax and how significant it is? I mean, I honestly think it's going to be, a non-issue. I do have my reasons about that, but I think I want to dedicate an entire stream to that because I don't think I can articulate my thoughts the way I want to, let's put it that way, right now. But I think it's going to be a non-issue. Hey, Shadow Ship says Wall Street scape an inflationary print. If you put your money in a savings account, you essentially are telling yourself that you're okay with losing money guaranteed, right? Because the yield on your savings account is not enough to keep up with the pace of inflation, even if it's in a high yield account yielding 1.2%. So I think that what this low interest rate environment has done, it's forced investors out into the marketplace to search for yield or take on risk. And that's why you always hear me talk about how we're in a risk-on environment. Because when rates are low, that forces people to go out and try to find investments that will beat the so-called hurdle rate. And the hurdle rate is the percentage that you have to make on your investments in order to beat inflation. So I wouldn't put any money in a savings account in a low interest rate environment. Because essentially, if you're sitting 100% in cash, that means your purchasing power diminishes by about 6% every year per annum. And we talk about that specific topic a lot on the stream because the Federal Reserve has essentially been punishing savers. So if you are a diligent saver, you've been saving your income, you're not spending it frivolously, the Federal Reserve and the government has essentially been punishing you since the lows of the 2008 financial crisis. Hey, the Austin Tennis is Tom, not asking for any financial advice or anything, but where would you put funds that you need to be liquid but aren't ready to use quite yet? Yeah, so I mean, I think a regular index fund or ETF that tracks the S&P 500 with an extremely low expense ratio will give you the liquidity that you need. Right, so a lot of the times I'll probably just, if I'm looking to beat inflation, I just dollar cost average into an index fund that tracks the S&P, because at least you're getting a little bit of dividend income, even though the yield on the S&P 500 is the lowest, pretty much on record. I think it's 1.3% now. But if you think about the capital appreciation, the S&P is up, I think, 22%, 23%. But I think the biggest thing to take into consideration is if you really need, do you need this money? Are you going to touch it for 5 years? So Peter Lynch, there was a very interesting thing in one of Peter Lynch's books called One Up on Wall Street. And he said if you need the money in a time frame less than 5 years, you shouldn't invest it. So I'll say that again. If you need the money within a 5-year time frame, it's best to leave it in cash. Because the overall volatility of the market, you could go through a couple bull and bear cycles within a 5-year time frame. So if you need to bust that, you know, it's probably wise to keep it sitting in cash if you need it within the next 1 to 5 years. But if it's more than 5 years, I would definitely either just index it, or depending on your risk profile, dollar cost average into Bitcoin. But that's what I would do. I don't give out financial advice, but you just have to understand what your hurdle rate is. You know, what are your monthly expenses, and then how much is inflation stealing from you? EBITDA is true. If your time frame is under 5 years, stick to money market and preferred deposits as EBITDA. C Miles is great, solid advice. They never tell us that. Thank you. Yeah, a good book is One Up on Wall Street by Peter Lynch. And one of the reasons why I really like that book is because he doesn't try to be like these financial show-offs that you see on CNBC and Bloomberg. He rationalizes with the average common individual and says, look, you know, a portfolio manager on Wall Street that's managing a couple $2 billion for a mutual fund is no smarter than you and me or the regular guy on Main Street. It's just all about finding those key factors that make stocks go up. And that is earnings. Earnings matter. So the trajectory of a company's earnings, 9 times out of 10, unless you're in a brutal bear market, will follow the trajectory of the stock price. So earnings always matter first. It's the most important thing. Hey, I see the Mighty Bull here. What's up, Mighty Bull? Good to see you. The Mighty Bull says hello. Greetings worldwide. And greetings to our host, Tom. Mighty Bull right back at you. The Austin Tennis says, did you have your welcome back New York City dinner at Becco tonight? Not tonight. I actually may go to Becco with some of my buddies tomorrow. Hey, what's up, Bowser? Good to see you. So here we're walking past the Cause statue again. This is one of my favorite sculptures in the city, right here. And when I used to work at 1166 6th Avenue, we used to have one of these in my office. Right here. Very cool. EBITDA says investing and speculation are not the same. You invest in a company's fundamentals. You speculate on what you think other investors will do. That's actually a very good way to put it, EBITDA. Never thought about it like that. Mr. Cold says, we get to see those nice looking buildings. Which one, I just lost your comment, is the ugliest? Hilarious. Ian, how are you? Austin Tennis says, was the vessel open back up yesterday when you passed by? I'm not sure about that. I'm actually not sure if the vessel was open. Fresh Starts is when are you going to the show, the Empire State Building? When it is in view. Where exactly is the Cause statue? I want to make a stop by there soon. So this is the corner of 49th Street and Park Avenue. 49th and Park is the Cause statue right here. 49th and Park. Let me catch up on the comments. I know a lot went by. Me says Monday shares are unrealistic. Last quarter sales only $80 million, $150 billion market cap, earnings per share and PE garbage. Why would you following this stock? In my opinion, this stock will crash when the market corrects. Yeah, so me, I'm not sure how long you've been tuning into the stream tonight, but what I said was this stock is not investable right now because on an earnings per share basis, it's not profitable. So I said it's not investable right now. But one of the reasons why I'm looking at it right now is, you know, working in technology. I work in tech. I've worked in tech my whole career. I think you're going to see a big shift, a massive shift into no code and low code architecture. So that total addressable market, I think, is going to balloon. So if you think about companies like Atlassian, you know, CEO Michael Cannon-Brookes, you know, this work ops, DevOps sort of companies, Asana, things like that. I think that there is a real opportunity for Monday.com to go in there and make a penetration rate and actually steal some market share from these big behemoth companies. So as I've said, right now, Monday.com is it's not a profitable company, right? So a lot of the times when a company goes public, it's usually pre-earnings, especially if it's a software company, because they're getting a lot of money previously to the IPO from venture capital, private equity, and the like to grow top-line revenue, right? So top-line revenue, especially if you're running on a SaaS model or a software as a service model, is extremely important. Sort of just think about, what Amazon did back in the day is they were all about top-line growth. But at first, you're not going to have from analysts on Wall Street. But over time, if you can grow that top-line revenue, the only thing that you really have to do is increase and make sure your retention rate is extremely high. Think about it. If you can grow your revenues to $500 million a quarter, and this is on a recurring basis, and you have essentially a 0% churn rate, now you could focus on the operations side of the business, right? So the operational side of the business would be, okay, how can we cut costs to make sure our I think this guy's taking a piss. So the operational side of the business could be, how can we cut costs so that our revenues will exceed our expenses, and now we are a profitable company, right? So I think it's all about going out there, really knocking down doors. And so I'm a little bit distracted from that guy. But I think it's all about growing the top line revenue first, making customers that are happy and that want to be a part of your company, lock them in, and then focus on operational efficiencies and drive up your earnings per share and drive up your free cash flow. So hopefully that makes sense to me. Hey, British Gray is here. What's up, British Gray? Good to see you. British Gray is from Tampa, Florida. Jimmy Anderson says, man, Tom, we need to drive some top line revenue to Beer and Bets. Yeah, so anybody, check out Jimmy Anderson's podcast, Beer and Bets podcast. Alan Pickett says, I bought PayPal. Irene Rivas is here, says hello. What's up, Rivas? Good to have you here. Red Bull says hi. EBITDA says, Wall Street Skate Bro, you worked at 1166. Did you work at D.E. Shaw or William Blair? No, but D.E. Shaw was right above me. So D.E. Shaw was right above my office. They were on I forget exactly what floor they were on. But D.E. Shaw was a quant shop, or still is a quant shop on Wall Street, founded by David Shaw. And that's actually where Jeff Bezos used to work right when he came out of college, for D.E. Shaw. He was a hedge fund analyst. He was probably making $1 million a year as a hedge fund analyst at David E. Shaw & Co. So 1166 Avenue of the Americas is the Marsh & McLennan building. And Marsh & McLennan is a big consulting firm, big consulting company. So in my building, we had D.E. Shaw, Marsh & McLennan, and the like. So this is my favorite building in the entire city, right here on East 52nd Street and Park Avenue. The most beautiful building in the city, the Seagram building. There's so many trees in the Seagram building. Bowser says, how is the live stream, Tom? The live stream is pretty good. Michelle McGraw. What's up, Lost in Curve? War Walker says, when you have to go, you got to go. Mr. Cold says he's cosplaying the dog. Hilarious. Two Wheel Pine says, what's up, Tom? Hope you've been well. Indeed, I have. Hope the same for you, Two Wheel Pines. Fresh Start says, you just saw the MetLife building. Very cool. Hey, Roz999 says, the stream looks nice tonight. So here we are at the Seagram building, my favorite building in the city. And I'll give you guys a view of 432 Park Avenue. So this is 432 Park Avenue right here. And everybody in the building is actually filing a class action lawsuit against the developers of that building. 48 says, hi Tom, how are you? Hope you're well today. Thank you, 48. Nick Jones says, hey, I used to work in the Seagram building for Centerbridge Partners. I was a trade, I lost your comment. I was a trade floor tech, great building. Nick Jones, that's awesome, man. So one of my good friends, Ricky, did an internship at Centerview. Right here. He went to Baruch. So very, very good company. Very cool. Seagram building is my favorite building in the city. Bowser says, Tom, I wanted to say a big thanks for letting me join the live stream. It is cool to see you and doing this live stream. Thank you, Bowser. No problem, man. It's a pleasure to have you here. So imagine, I mean, this building is so great. It's my favorite building. Imagine walking out and having this view every day after work. I mean, that's beautiful. So when evaluating a software company, and for anybody who's just joining, tonight's topic is Monday.com. As of now, for me personally, it's not investable because I don't invest in the companies that are not profitable. But I do see a very large growing TAM, or total addressable market, for low code or no code architecture. Right? So essentially what a low code or no code architecture is, you know, if you're selling into the SMB space, for example, and a small to medium-sized business doesn't have software developers on site to make products and services, you know, you can hire a company like Monday on a subscription basis where they essentially have plug-and-play platform and technologies. So instead of having like a full stack engineer, like a Python developer, Java, JavaScript, C#, Node, all those languages, right? I could rattle them off forever. You can essentially, you know, go to a very low or no code environment where it's sort of like they already make the building blocks for whatever particular software you're trying to use. And this is mainly called the Work OS. Right, so work operating system, you could think about not really so much, Monday.com competes with Atlassian, so ticker symbol TEAM. But one of the most important things that I think came out of this earnings report that I like to look for when I'm making sort of my models is that I want to make sure a software company is growing notoriety and pretty much, you know, growing their presence in the enterprise. Right, so I want to make sure that these software companies are getting attention from large companies and they're billing on reoccurring revenue to some of the largest companies in the world, and that's called the enterprise. So a lot of the times on the earnings report, there'll be, you know, analysts from JP Morgan Chase or Goldman Sachs. They'll come on the call and say, you know, what was your growth rate in the enterprise? And usually that's with customers that are billing $100,000 or more per annum. So Monday, the number of enterprise customers with over $50,000 in ARR. So ARR is an acronym for annual recurring revenue. It was 613, and that's up 231% from 185 in the third quarter of 2020. I mean, that is a massive, massive growth rate. And the two customers that they just signed up in their latest earnings report, or their latest quarter, was a very notable company I think everybody would know of, eBay and Jamf. So Jamf, Jamf, is an enterprise software company that mainly focuses in the MDM space, or mobile device management, to Apple products. And I think everybody knows what eBay is. Hey, Buy the Book is here. What's up, Buy the Book? It says, hey, Tom and everybody. What's up, Buy the Book? EBITDA says, Wall Street Skate Bro, I have been curious about transition to tech. What is your thoughts on people going from investment banking, asset management, over to tech? Easy transition, similar pay, less hours? I'm interested. Yeah, I mean, EBITDA, I think it really just depends on... So I think that's a great question. So this is, I think, the biggest thing that needs to be addressed, in my opinion. it depends on career trajectory, right? If you go into investment banking, you're probably, and you stay the course and you move up from, analyst to associate to VP to managing director, you're probably going to have a much better career path, to making sizable amounts of money. I have a friend that's an associate actually here at Centerview, making $400,000. It's a comfortable, nice compensation package. But I think it just depends on what you actually want to do in tech, because if you move into the sell side in tech, you're maybe an account executive or enterprise account executive, you're probably going to have a little bit of it depends. I mean, you're probably going to have a big workload at first just because you don't have a big book of business. So I think if you start off in tech sales when you're, let's say you started off when you were my age at 19, from 19 to 26, you've given yourself the ability to grow a crazy book of business, right? So anywhere you go, let's say if I go to another software company, I can go then and call on all my customers that I brought on over the years and have a nice run rate right out the gate. So if you want to get into sales or tech sales, I think it's a good idea. It can be a very, very lucrative career, but at first it is difficult because it's very quota driven, very results driven. Especially if you're at a publicly traded software company or a publicly traded tech company where they need to make their numbers for Wall Street every quarter. You're going to be under a lot of pressure. But if you want to go into management from investment banking, you could probably get maybe an enterprise management position where essentially you're managing a team of enterprise account executives, which I think would probably be, it just depends on what you want to do. Or if you want to be a software engineer, you could be a senior software engineer at Google, making $800,000, $900,000. Eric, Texas's doors of opportunity are only. Alan Pickett, what's up, Alan? Hey, the Aviator says, hello, Tom. Sorry for not being in your streams for the last couple of days. I was really busy with school lately, but this week is Thanksgiving break, so I finally got a chance to watch the stream. Awesome, Aviator. Glad to hear that. What's up, Josh D? So EBITDA, that's what I would say. It just depends on if you, what your career trajectory is and how long you've been in finance. But a lot of my buddies are trying to move over to tech, but also a lot of my friends that are in tech are moving over to finance. So I think it just depends. I would also look for the exit opportunities. So if you're in investment banking now at Bank of America, you could probably have phenomenal exit opportunities to private equity or venture capital. So maybe that's something you want to explore. It just depends on what you want to do. And if you're at a VC firm or something like that, that's tech focused, you could really get some good hands-on experience of how to build the operation side of a tech business, which is kind of cool. Hey, Dogman says grass is always greener. Dogman, you said Jamf had a big earnings miss. Yeah, so Jamf, I think they're in a very crowded market, right? The MDM space is very crowded. You could think about, some of the smaller mobile device management companies or enterprise management, EMM, like CodeProof, Samsung Knox, Scale Fusion is another one. So there's so many. EBITDA says Wall Street Skate Bro. I've been talking to a few private equity shops who wanted to keep my options open. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. When does private equity, I think the recruiting process is now for next year, right? Or was it a couple months ago? I forget. So now we're headed to Fifth Avenue, outside of the one and only St. Patrick's Cathedral. Hey, Jake says, I am wanting to get into investment banking, but recently graduated without IB internships. Any suggestions? Jake, I would leave that one to EBITDA. So Jake, if EBITDA is still in the chat, EBITDA, if you have any advice for Jake that wants to get into investment banking, but didn't do any sort of summer analyst positions at the major investment banks, what advice would you give to him? I've never worked in investment banking. I went right into tech. So I think, but EBITDA he works at an investment bank right now. So maybe he can give you some guidance. Hey, Cosmo Scary says, hello, Tom, enjoying the cold. What's up, Cosmo? I am enjoying the cold. Josh D says, Nike just dumped a bunch of money into the mental wellness industry. I think Apple did too, Josh, didn't they? Ireva says, do you like sweet potato pie or pumpkin pie? Pumpkin pie, 100,000%. I'm not a big fan of sweet potato pie. Not a big fan. What about you, Irevis? But from my understanding, a lot of my buddies who went into investment banking, they went to either like Baruch, which is a finance school here, or they were headhunted out of like a top 50 school from an investment banking internship class. But it's probably still possible to work on Wall Street. I think you just need to stand out. It also depends on what department you want to enter in investment banking. Do you want to be in sales and trading? Do you want to work in mergers and acquisitions? You know, what is it that you want to do? Hey, photos from around New York says, I hear Saks Fifth Avenue. We're going to check that out tonight on the stream for sure. Eric says gold and oil are pretty strong considering dollar strength. Yeah, so the dollar has very high relative strength right now. Very, very high relative to all the other currencies out there. So the Turkish lira is literally going to zero right now, as we speak. Hey, Alan Pickett, what's up, Alan? DW says, where's the Rolex store? I think it's actually coming up. I think we are here at the Versace store. Buy the book says, the cab is super cool. Josh D says, yes, I believe Apple did as well, Tom. It's expected to grow 18% per year through 2027. Hey, M. Wall on the Run says, I like coconut custard pie. I've never had it. Caddy says, pumpkin pie is more traditional. The Austin Tennis says, Tom, are you the one cooking Thanksgiving dinner this year at your house? Nah, my mother does that every year. I try to help out though. Hey, Scott Briggs says, Skate Bro, can give you a good loan for a Rolex? I don't wear watches. I've never worn a watch. Oh, so this is the Cartier store. We're probably gonna have to cross the street to see it. Lorenz says, hey Tom, I finished following Wall Street Skate Bro for Instagram. My name is for Instagram. Awesome, I'll check it out. Definitely gonna check it out. So if you guys want to sign up for a free financial newsletter, I write a free, doesn't cost anything, free newsletter called the Behind the Street newsletter every single week. If you type !news, N-E-W-S, in the chat, it'll drop a link to the newsletter. Josh D says, watches are good conversation starters. Tom, may help you network with more people. That's a good observation. I'm just not a big watch guy. I could never think about the justification of spending, 10, 20 grand on a watch. Wow, this just looks cool, guys. Yeah, the Cartier store is always the best during the holidays. But I'm a little disappointed this year they don't have the, what is it called? The Jaguar? They usually have like a big cat that spirals down the entire thing. Cosmo Scary says, I'm getting an Apple Watch, but with the chip shortage is affecting that too. Yeah, so Cosmo, if you listen to Apple's most recent earnings report, Tim Cook was telling an analyst from Jefferies on the call that the global semiconductor shortage attributed to a $6 billion revenue loss this quarter for Apple. So crazy. Sally says beautiful. Hey, Ed says, yeah, in Hollywood, people have expensive shoes and watches and everything else kind of trashy. Hey, Veronica Garay says, hello, Tom. How are you doing? Greetings from Lima, Peru. Yeah, so everybody, I usually write the newsletter on my YouTube community page. However, YouTube is limiting the amount of characters I'm allowed to write to 5,000. And it's impossible for me to get all my thoughts down in 5,000 characters. So I'm using this new platform that Twitter suggested to me. So I will be using this mailing list to get the newsletter out. So if you guys want to check it out, it'll send you the newsletter every week. And if you want to click on the link in the email, you'll be able to read an archive of all of the newsletters. Hey, Otto is here. Says, greetings from Vancouver, British Columbia. Enjoying your stream. Hey, what's up, Otto? Welcome to everybody from British Columbia. EBITDA says, Ferragamo, I have the loafers. Nice shoes. Hey, EBITDA, what are they called? The deal sleds, right? So this is the Rolex store right here. Lost in Curve says, so the financial world seems to be born into a school, into is work your way up from the mailroom a myth. I think back in the day, it was definitely the barrier to entry was easier, in my opinion. But there's always still ways to be creative, I think. I think if there's a will, there's a way. But I just think you need to really stand out. So I was actually having this conversation with one of my buddies about why it's so hard to break into investment banking nowadays. And essentially investment banking is, people are a lot more analytical now because, if you work on Wall Street, and the very, very high paying jobs on Wall Street are really the quantitatives. And for a quantitative, you really probably do not have a major in finance. You probably have a major in physics, and you probably have a PhD in physics or something like that. Those are the people that are making, millions of dollars on Wall Street. Or, maybe you're a quantitative researcher at a company like 2 Sigma, which is a quantitative hedge fund. D.E. Shaw, Citadel, right? Ken Griffin, the founder of Citadel, and these quantitative market makers or quantitative shops on Wall Street provide the majority of the liquidity in these markets because they're the market makers, right? So they take part in a lot of market making activity. So Wall Street has pretty much been taken over by the quants, unless you're in M&A, mergers and acquisitions. But what I wanted to do when I got out of school, I wanted to work in sales and trading, right? There's a department of the investment bank called sales and trading, and that's actually in structural decline. If you compare the size of Goldman Sachs sales and trading desk back in the 80s to what it is now, it's probably been reduced by over 80% because the majority of the activity on Wall Street is quantitative now. Hey, the aviator says it is made out of glass. EBITDA says every quant I know went to school for engineering, physics, math, etc. None of them have finance backgrounds. Wall Street scapegoat. Yeah, exactly. Exactly what EBITDA says. It's essentially been the quant takeover. Another company or a hedge fund that is very famous for their quantitative techniques. Their quantitative techniques is Renaissance Technology with Mr. Simmons or Simon. Man, it's freezing. I gotta change hands here, guys. My finger's about to fall off. So we're right here on 5th Avenue and 54th Street. EBITDA says Renaissance Technologies is the greatest of all time of quant funds. I agree. EBITDA says S&T, sales and trading, used to be the Wild West. That was the dream job, but now it's more M&A in my opinion. Yeah, I would agree. Because the size of the desks now are they're empty. I mean, if you go to Goldman Sachs, sales and trading department, it's not as big as it used to be. That department is probably been cut in half and more, the sales and trading department. And that's just because, it's a normal process of technology and software eating the world. Scott Briggs says, Wall Street Scapegoat, do you mind if I ask, are you a broker, trader, analyst, etc.? I have no idea of Wall Street. I have some roles though. No, so I don't work on Wall Street. I just manage my own money in my account. I actually work in tech. So right out of college, I went into tech sales, or enterprise software and tech sales. So I mainly invest into software companies. But I've always had an interest in Wall Street and things like that. So I wanted to work in the sales and trading department of the investment bank, not in the M&A. Joey's here, says nothing like New York City walks. I agree. Hey, Penelope says art, engineering department, business needs altogether. Lanier says, hey Tom, see you later. And you will go to your live video for... Scott Briggs says, I gotcha. I see. Private investor and manager then. Yeah, so I manage just my own money. But I think down the road I would like to maybe raise money for some sort of a hedge fund from some of my friends. Hey, Jake is here. Jake Sprouse says, I'm in the wonderful age of not knowing what I want to do with my life after university, says Jake. So Jake, if you don't know what you want to do with yourself after university, I would always default to some sort of sales job. Because if you're in a sales job, especially at a tech company or a software company, there's so many avenues you can spin yourself off to. You can go into operations, you can go into R&D, research and development, maybe you want to go into management. So if I were you, and I'll just give you maybe a little bit of a piece of advice. You want to go into a career that is growing. You don't want to go into an industry that's in structural decline. So I would look at what has the largest total addressable market right now, right? And what is projected to grow over the next 5 to 10 years. Because if you're in an industry that is growing and working for a company that is growing their revenues and growing their earnings, you're probably going to be making a lot of money. So I would suggest going into a sales position at a cybersecurity company. You could think about a Zscaler, Okta, CrowdStrike, a Ping Identity or something like that. And then from there, if you don't like sales, well, then you can just position yourself and go internally in the company to maybe like a business development or a management position or product engineering or software engineering. There's so many things you could do once you get your foot in the door. And if you work at one of these big software companies or cybersecurity companies, you could actually probably parlay a job as an analyst on Wall Street because you know the ins and outs of working at these type of companies. So you could tell the portfolio manager or your managing director, you should hire me because I have experience working for one of these software companies. I know the ins and outs. I know their sales tactics. I know everything. Hey, Robert Muhammad says, Wall Street Scapegoat, what's your opinion on ZI? Is that an option tradable company? So are you talking about, can you trade options? So ticker symbol ZI is Zoom Info, and the CEO is Henry Schuck. So Zoom Info, I like the company. I use the product and service almost every day in my sales career. This thing is pretty cool. This is a dreidel for the Jewish holiday of Hanukkah. Very cool. I will say this. A lot of the big enterprise software companies, they trade at premium valuation, right? So their valuations, their price to earnings are quite extended. The only thing that I would say is I do have a position in Zoom Info, but my cost basis is extremely low. But you have to watch the interest rate. So in an interest rate rising environment, you're probably going to see a little bit of selling pressure in these high PE names. But in my opinion, I use the product of Zoom Info almost every day. I like it. And they have a very good CEO, and they're in a very large total addressable market. Hey, Lighten Up is here. What's up, Lighten Up? But Robert Muhammad, good to see you. Scott Briggs says, I did 3 years of retail sales in the 80s and 4 years of library work. That's awesome, man. I used to work in retail too. Ireva says, I'm listening and I'm going to be making gingerbread people cookies. That's awesome, Ireva. Send me some if you can. Amir Kandi says, what jobs in New York City can I work with that degree? Pretty much any job you want. I mean, the job market in New York City is extremely healthy, so you can pretty much do whatever you want here. It just depends on what you want to do. So now we are here by the Trump Tower. Marilyn Ringles here says Hanukkah starts on Sunday night, November 28th. Very cool. Well, happy Hanukkah to everybody who celebrates it in the chat. Scott says, I did audio sales, which is at least customer service training. Yeah, I think any type of sales skill, if you can build a sales skill, I think that's very good. Because sales essentially teaches you how to interact with people, how to build relationships, how to build trust. But man, the wind is really picking up, everybody. And this is the Trump Tower, right outside Trump Tower. So this is the main Trump Tower building. There's also another one on Central Park South, 106 Central Park South, that is. Oh man, I'm getting destroyed by the wind, guys. I'm getting hammered. EBITDA, read the book, says Wall Street Scapegoat, we should start a fund. I was talking with my friend whose dad is about to retire from their $800 million real estate shop. He is very curious and interested in starting up a fund. Dude, let me know. I'm down. One of my really good buddies, Jim Ropel, he runs Ropel Capital Management. Very good friend of mine. Great guy, Jim Ropel. I think I'm going to try to work something out. Maybe in a couple years, maybe 5 years, try to start a fund up, something like that. But we have to figure out who we're going to use as a prime broker. A lot of my buddies use Jeffries as their prime broker. Man, I'm freezing, guys. Crazy. All right, I have to duck off to the side for a second because the wind is getting the best of us at the moment. Hey, a different take is here. It says, is now the time for end of the year dividends, or does one have to wait until January? So if you want to know when you're going to get paid your dividends on your stocks, there's something called an ex-dividend date. So that means you have to be a shareholder by this time and this date to receive the dividend. And you can check that on the company's website. Scott Briggs says, how do you essentially make money with a fund? So 9 times out of 10, how a hedge fund is structured is they make their money on their fee income, right? So maybe you charge a 2 and 20. So you take a 2% management fee. So you make 2% of all the assets under management, or AUM, and then you use that to pay your employees and things like that. And then you take 20% of the profits. You know, a lot of the business on Wall Street is all about growing the assets under management and charging a ridiculous amount of fees. And that's why I like people like Peter Lynch and Jack Bogle when he was alive, who was really calling out everybody on Wall Street that were not making any money for their clients. And they were only charging ridiculous fees. Alan says, buy now, pay later is fake. Photos from around New York says, but isn't 2% a lot for fees. Yeah, 2% is a crazy amount for fees. But a hedge fund structure, essentially the people who are investing into a hedge fund is not people on Main Street, right? These are high net worth individuals. And when you're a high net worth individual, you don't really care so much about making money as you care about protecting your capital. Right, so let's say I'm some Saudi prince and I have, my family's net worth of, $400 billion because I have a lot of oil money. I'm probably going to take a couple $1 billion and put it in a hedge fund to reduce my overall volatility within my investable assets. So even though a hedge fund will probably underperform the S&P 500, the term hedge in hedge fund means exactly that, hedging. So maybe you'll make 8% a year instead of, whatever the S&P does, but your volatility will be lower because the hedge fund is hedging your assets. So your volatility will probably be a little bit lower. If that makes sense. EBITDA says some big hedge funds are even charging 2 AUM and 30% of the profits. Yep. M. Wall says, why don't you buy a hot tea somewhere? We can be on standby and watch you. I think all this stuff is closed. But yeah, I'm freezing here, guys. I am, but we're gonna keep pushing through. But yeah, that's why I'm, two of my main idols on Wall Street is Peter Lynch and Jack Bogle, because he's like, the Main Street investor doesn't need to be investing in all of these hedge funds and mutual funds and things like that, charging ridiculous fees, because it doesn't add any value to them. If you're trying to just save for retirement, you're better off just dollar cost averaging into an index fund that has very, very low fees. The number one thing about investing for the majority of people is you want to reduce the amount of fees you send to Wall Street. If you're a very high net worth individual, then yeah, it's probably a good idea to maybe invest some of your money in a hedge fund to reduce volatility and just preserve your wealth. So these are the giant candy canes here. Very cool. Oh man, it was so windy there. When the wind stops, it's like day and night. Joey says Miami weather is wearing off on you. I know. George says, Tom, get yourself a Land's End parka. Is it really 34 degrees out? Wow. Joey says, Tom, thank you for issue number 5. Good stuff. Yeah, so Joey, when you sign up for the newsletter, it's completely free, by the way. You're going to get a couple of emails, and those aren't the newest newsletters. I just had to upload the old ones so people could go back and read them. So the new one should be coming out on Thursday because that's when the email catches up. Anonymous dude says, we need you warm and healthy, Wall Street skate bro. I need these calming scenes and investment tips. Hey, Ali Perez says, someone bought my groceries tonight. Wow, that's awesome. Says I had the money, but we got talking at the register and she just said to the cashier to put the groceries on her bill. Well, that's very nice. That's awesome that somebody did that. That's awesome. Roz999 says, Jack Bogle should have won a Nobel Peace Prize. He should have. He should have. So this is the shops at the plaza here. Very beautiful. Plaza Hotel. Scott Briggs says, the thing is Thursday is supposed to be warm again. It's as volatile as the commodities market. Hilarious, Scott. Lighten Up is here. Troy 1995, good to see you. EBITDA says, Wall Street Skate Bro just signed up. Looking forward to checking it out. Yeah, so if you, when you guys get these emails, I believe if you click on the profile picture within the email, it'll take you to the website where you can read an archive of all of the different newsletters. So feel free to do that. Hey, Don Omar is here. Mike says, cool night in New York. Also here in New Mexico. Hello, everybody just subscribed. Hey, Mike Atan, welcome from New Mexico. Very cool state. Awesome state. Scott Briggs says, I used to have a housemate who was a trader on the commodities floor. He was a total pisser, my God. Mark Gray says, if Elon offered you a free space trip, would you take it? Yes, absolutely. 100%. I mean, you would be in like a very, very select group of people that have ever gone to space. 100% I'd do that. Without even a shadow of a doubt, I would do that. Ibada says, I just met with Bogle's right-hand guy. He ended up becoming my dad's neighbor, and now I might be doing some business with him. Small world. Wow, Ibada, that's great. Marilyn Ringel says, anyone who works at a job that offers a 401k and 403b plans, go for it. It adds up. Yeah, so I think that's a great idea. Make sure you get the max. But the only thing I would say with the 401ks is make sure you really scrutinize the fees, because the majority of people that invest into these work-sponsored 401ks, they really don't even know what they're investing in, right? So definitely make sure you understand what you're investing in. Make sure the fees are very low. That's all I'll say. Cosmo Scary says, I missed the skateboard. I miss it too. We may have it tomorrow. I couldn't bring it to the city today. I had to do some business stuff. So this is the inside of the Plaza Hotel is beautiful. I'll try to show you guys the ceiling in the plaza. Very cool. Very good looking chandeliers here. This is the very famous Plaza Hotel. The view from the front of the Plaza Hotel is very cool. Ibada says JD Power is probably a silent lobbyist for big car companies. Yeah, doesn't Tesla, yeah, like you said, Tesla has one of the worst power ratings, but I think that's all BS, in my opinion. Don Omar says Christmas time is the best time in New York. I agree. DN says, have you ever seen the Rockettes Christmas Spectacular? I have, actually. And I'm going to go this year, too. I haven't been in a while, but I'm going to go again this year. I'm super pumped about it. All right, so then we'll turn around and walk the other way. Guys, these are the old stomping grounds right here at Central Park South. We used to start every live stream over here. Hey, Tony says, hi, my friend. How are you, mate? Enjoying the lovely evening. Have a coffee, thanks. Sydney, Australia, the time here is 14:12 afternoon. Temperature is 22 degrees. Tony, thank you so much for being here. So for anybody who's just joining, the topic of the stream today, we were talking about a software company called MNDY.com. And we were speculating if the space of no-code or low-code architecture is really going to take off. I think it's going to take off. Because one of the biggest in-demand jobs right now is software engineers. They need people who know coding languages and the like. So the guy is wrenching on that dog's neck. Look at this guy. Well, he was just doing it. He's not doing it anymore, which is good. I don't know why people do that. They hammer on the dog's neck with the leash. But yeah, we were talking about MNDY.com, low code, no code environment. MNDY.com is not investable right now, in my opinion, because it is not profitable yet, keyword yet, but I think it will be as they improve their operations and grow their revenue. Play this as the guy is the dog is scared of him. Yeah, I mean you don't have to wrench the dog's neck, man. Take it easy. Play this as Wall Street Scaper. You saw correctly. Dog was terrified of him. Well, he's taking the leash and hammering the leash. It's like he's gonna rip the thing's neck off. Like, take it easy, guy. Wow, this thing is so cool. I've never seen this actually. Lay this as the guy is a control freak. Hilarious. Hey, Melee says, wow, beautiful area. Yeah, this is right here at Central Park South, right outside of the Plaza Hotel. Ooh, Cherry Groove says, Tom, I'm baking pecan shortbread bars now. You guys are making me hungry. That sounds amazing, man. Hey, photos from around New York says they had a choir there when this opened. Did they really? I didn't see that. Maybe it's on YouTube. Hey, Team INC says, you missed Miami yet? I missed the weather. I missed the weather a little bit. Don Omar says, New York is very big. It's huge. New York is huge. Hey, Mohammed's here. What's up, Mohammed? Hey, the Swan is here. What's up, the Swan? Good to see you. We are back in New York City. The Swan says, a woman here I know, if she saw him, would pull up her sleeves and head straight for him. Straight for that dog owner. Never seen anyone so brave in my life. Joey says Bitcoin dropped today. I think Bitcoin actually caught a nice bid today. I think it's over what, 57 again? I'm not sure. I'll have to check it out, Joey. Hey, Marilyn Ringel with the $10 super chat. Thank you, Marilyn. I appreciate the support. I believe Marilyn is joining us from, I want to say Kips Bay. Is that right, Marilyn? I think Marilyn is from Kips Bay in New York. Either Kips Bay or something else. I'm trying to remember. Usually I have a good memory. NYC Cherry Grooves is sad news, Tom. Our deep fried turkey ordered from Texas didn't make the plane yet. Are you serious, Cherry Groove? Or are you joking around, man? That's hilarious. Cherry Groove, you're a fan of deep fried turkeys? So, you know what? NYC Cherry Groove, I was actually, every year, they have those commercials. I'm not sure. I always get them every year. The commercials for, you know, it's just like a public service announcement to be careful when you're doing the deep fried turkeys. Because these people, they burn their houses down when they do this deep fried turkey nonsense. It's dangerous. It's crazy. But some people do it. So be careful if you're doing that. Hey, James Dixon says BTC equals 56K. What's up, James? But the Swan, it's good to see you. NYC Cherry Group says serious. No way. But Marilyn Ringel, thank you so much for the support. I do appreciate you a lot. Robert H. Muhammad says, I just missed your comment. Says Miami ain't got nothing on New York City, especially during the holidays, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, New York is the greatest city in the world, but I definitely do enjoy Miami very, very thoroughly. Check out this thing. NYC Cherry Groove says, Tom, we ordered it from Goldbelly. Very cool. I've never heard of that, Cherry Groove. I'm going to have to check it out. Yeah, EBITDA says that's because people try to fry them from the inside their garage instead of outside. I shouldn't be laughing at that. That's horrible. But I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's horrible. It's horrible. Hey, Ali Perez says to deep fry a turkey, you really need to secure for when you remove the turkey because it will be tender. Interesting. I'm gonna have to check out Goldbelly. I've never heard of it before. But this is the Louis Vuitton building. And on the side of it is very cool design. It's a Christmas tree, very cool. EBITDA says it's natural selection at its finest. Josh D says, I didn't buy a turkey this year. Everything in the United States is getting so expensive. So, you know what? Now that, we have a lot of people in the chat, I was going to ask this. I was going to ask this in the chat because all I hear about, we'll check out these candy canes down here. We got to walk past these. All I hear about on the news, and I do agree that in like the tech sector, there's shortages and everything. There's supply chain shortages and everything. But on the news, they keep showing these photographs and videos of all of these grocery stores with like no food in them. But I mean, look, I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible. Every time I walk into the grocery store in Miami or on Long Island, everything is packed. Everything is like filled to the brim. So I'm not saying it's fake. I'm just saying maybe because I live on the East Coast and not maybe in Middle America that I'm not seeing this. So if anybody in the chat could maybe provide some insight. Are you guys seeing a lot of shortages in grocery stores? What do you guys think? Lay, this is slow news day, Tom's. Layla, you're probably right. Oh, Penelope says, yep, cleared out in Tennessee. Wow. Buy the book says, went to the store today. Certain items were missing, have been for a while. EBITDA says, my Whole Foods / grocery store, full as it normally is. A couple of items are hard to get, but for the most part, it's just a flyover states. Kevin Sunderland says, agreed, no shortages. Cherry Goose says, read above, Tom. Let me check it out. Cosmo says, haven't had issues in Trader Joe's. Cherry Goose says, Goldbelly ships desserts and entrees all over the states. They are made up of bakeries and restaurants all over the United States. Very cool, Cherry Groove. Hey, Helen is here. What's up, Helen? NJB, what's up? Rob H is in Michigan. Every store I'm going to has been stocked. I'm starting to think it's hype to drive up prices. Joey says, no shortage in Philly. Mac Jack says, I am in DC, it's empty. Running at Altitude says, went to Costco and they had 8 pallets of pumpkin pies. Oh my God. I don't know why that was so hilarious. Jay says, I see the food section packed in North Carolina, just pricier, same in New York. No shortages in Arizona. Yeah, guys, every comment is it's filled to the brim. I mean, I went into my and the Whole Foods very close to me in North Miami Beach, and I went in there at midnight, and the amount of food that was stocked to the ceiling, it was almost comical. I'm like, there is so much food here. I'm like how? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just what Layla says, slow news day. It's a hit piece. 2, it's slam packed. I mean, it's almost like there's too much food. I'm like, guys, enough with the food. R.Y. Davis says, can't find my caviar and gray mustard. Had to buy sardines and Spam. Oscar says, I live all the way in Puerto Rico. We are literally the last Americans to receive goods for our stores and markets. I can testify that there are no shortages here. Wow. EBITDA says, Wall Street Skate Bro, you can get your New York City bagels, Cat's pastrami to your house in Miami. Wow. For like 10x the normal price. I don't know about that. I don't know if I want to do that, EBITDA. But yeah, I mean, look, I don't want there to be shortages, but every time I see something on the media, I always question it, because I'm like, look, what they're reporting on the media is exactly the opposite of what I'm seeing in my real life. I'm like, I go to the store, I'm like, these people, the food is overflowing. I'm tripping over, as somebody in the comments said, I'm tripping over 30 pallets of pumpkin pies. I'm like, what's going on? Kevin Sunderland says, I also think the inflation quote-unquote issue is overblown. We have benefited from deflationary pressures due to tech efficiency. Oh, I agree with that 100,000%, Kevin. Yeah, technology has been extremely deflationary. 999 says, unfortunately for me, my waistline, no shortages in Buffalo. My God. Yeah, Rob H says the Weather Channel had a report the other day for Christmas tree shortages. Plenty. When I went on Saturday, paid 25 more than last year though. So this is what I will say, everybody. As you guys know, I work in tech, and I make a lot of custom products for customers. And I can say with 100% certainty, there is a global semiconductor shortage, because I deal with it every day at work. But every time I turn on the news, which is a big mistake, I never watch the news, but sometimes when I do, it's just I'm getting fist-fed with all of this nonsense that there's no food in the grocery store. But I'm like, wait, I'm walking into the grocery store and there's tons of food. And that's why I wanted to ask the question, because I'm like, look, maybe that's an anomaly, right? Maybe because I live in New York, I live in Miami, it's coastal city, maybe it's like an anomaly. But potentially maybe flyover states have shortages, but I mean, they're running the local news in Long Island like it's Armageddon. I'm like, guys, there's plenty of food. I don't know. I apologize for the rant. I apologize. Hey, Raj. MUH says, my dream city. Alex City says, I agree, bro. Paulie from Philly says, don't watch the news. That's your first mistake. That is my first mistake. I agree. Ali says, the holidays are expensive to begin with. Penelope says, news is nuts. Danny Bell says, it's all political. That's actually probably true. Photos from around New York says, news, AP or Reuters or another group put together a pre-made package for local news to pick up. Hey, Robert Parker's here. Says, hey, Tom, how are you, buddy? How is the weather in the Sunshine State? It's very good. Very good. It's like 80 degrees, 75, 80 degrees in Miami every day. I love it. The Swan says, a lot of food coming in from UK now is 55% up. Marty Lewis says, Tom, what channel had food shortage news? I didn't see that except on Facebook bad news source. So I saw it on my local news in Miami, and I saw it on the local news here in New York. And on all the mainstream news channels. You turn on Fox News and even CNN. I saw a clip of CNN, and that's why I was extremely surprised. They did a whole holiday clip on CNN about you're going to be paying, 80% more for a turkey, and you're not even going to get any turkeys. No turkeys in the stores. This guy Dom Lemon's like, there's no turkeys according to this genius economist. I walk into the Walmart, and the freezers, the turkeys are so full. There's so many turkeys in the freezers in the Walmart that's closest to my house. It's like they need to buy 4 freezers just to fit the amount of turkeys in there. So I'm like, what is going on here? I mean, again, that could be an anomaly, but that's why I wanted to ask the group, because we have so many people from all over the country. I've never been experiencing any shortages. Increased prices, yes. Shortages, no. At least not in my opinion. Hey, James says, no turkey for you. What's up, James? Buy the Book says, maybe they're using the food supply chain to raise prices. Robert Parker says, but yet you can't wait to get back to frigid New York. Yeah, Robert, so I'm here for Thanksgiving. So I'm just here to eat dinner with my family, all that stuff. Caddy says, there's always this talk about starving people. I don't see any emaciated homeless people on the street. Oh man, I shouldn't be laughing at that one either. That's horrible. So, I mean, look, this is what I'll say about the homeless crisis here, because I actually do have two really, really good homeless friends of mine that live here in the city. One of which is Jesus. And you guys, if you're from New York, you could actually go see him. He's on the corner of 59th Street and 8th Avenue. And I've known this guy since I was a little kid. He's a very good guy. His name is Jesus. And he's been living on that corner forever. And when I used to live over there, I used to, buy him lunch. Fun fact, I still pay for his Netflix account on his phone. He's a great guy. And the main thing that he says, he's like, look, it's not a problem of eating in New York, because there's so many people that give them money and come around and actually buy them food. A lot of people are generous here. They are. The main problem is job opportunities and getting jobs, because a lot of these homeless people, they're ex-convicts, right? So it could even be for the most petty thing. Especially back in the day, a lot of people were getting arrested for petty drug crimes. And now they can't get a job anywhere. So I think the majority of this, I think, is systemic. I think it's a systematic, horrible process that essentially has expelled and banished a lot of people from ever working again in the society. So I think there should be some revisions to laws about hiring ex-convicts and things like that, and maybe having things fall off your criminal record. But that, from the people I've talked to in this city that are homeless, they say the problem is just the ability to get a job, right? And number two, it's mental health issues. A lot of people that are on the streets in New York City, they're suffering from extreme mental health issues, where they're actually not even stable enough to hold a job, right? So I think there needs to be more investment into mental health counseling and things like that. But that's sort of my take on it. Hey, Roz999 says yes, and many need mental health services. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, a lot of them, are suffering with extreme mental health issues. And that's why in a big city like New York, I think you need to increase the allocation of funds to, these types of social programs where they could see counselors and get the mental health or health help that they need, in my view. Anyway, but again, easier said than done. There's only so many social workers in the city to deal with everybody, so. Denny Bells has agreed. It's the probation after jail that causes low morale. Yeah, exactly. And I went to John Jay College of Criminal Justice, and this is something we learned about a lot. I took a lot of courses on this, and it essentially banishes people from society. It's horrible. And then they fall into a downward spiral of going and doing drugs, because if you come out of prison and you made a mistake, that doesn't mean you're a horrible person. It just means that you made a stupid mistake. If you stole something from the store, just as long as it wasn't a violent crime. But anyways, I digress. Hey, Tanya's here. Ali Perez says, I work with clients in mental health care as a nurse assistant. Ali Perez, well, thank you for the work you do. I appreciate it very, very much. So here we are again at 52nd Street and 5th Avenue. JM says wealth inequality also plays a factor. JM, we have the Federal Reserve to thank for that. Rob H says, in Michigan, many companies need workers so badly, they've stopped drug testing, says Rob H. Hey, Golf Endeavor is here. Says, hey, Tom and everybody. How have you been? Great to catch up with you live. Very important discussion about homeless situation. Absolutely agree with your points. Latin Texan says hi. golf endeavor. Hope you're well. Good to see you. Hey, Ken Kramer says there's a lot of tax money appropriated to homelessness. It's a lot of political corruption that steals it, says Ken Kramer. I agree. Tyus says, I will visit New York City on the 38th, on 38th Street. Can you tell me more about this street? Well, 38th Street is just a regular street in New York. But it's in a good location right at Midtown, so you're going to be near a lot of stuff. So 38th Street is close to 34th Street, obviously, where you have Penn Station and Madison Square Garden. So if you're staying 37th Street or 38th Street and 5th Avenue, 8th Avenue, it's a pretty good time. Marilyn Ringel says there are people who are working but don't have enough money to get decent food. This is why you can get junk food, 2 burgers, fries, and an apple pie for $5. Yeah, sometimes you could eat, out cheaper than you eat at home. Scott Briggs says, I think... I just lost your comment, Scott. I apologize. Let me see. Hey, Kevin Sunderland with the $5 super chat. Thank you, Kevin, so much. This is making a Christmas list of tech companies. Slide continues. Yeah, so Kevin, I think that's what I think. I really do think this sell-off is going to set us up for a big Santa Claus rally. And I could be wrong, right? And if I'm wrong, I'll change my strategies accordingly. But I think this sell-off will present itself buying opportunities, in my opinion. However, before you buy any sort of stock that is in a correction, I always wait for something that's called a follow-through day. And a follow-through day, I write about in my newsletter a lot. It's when the market closes on higher than expected volume over the previous 2 days closing prices. And that usually signals institutions are buying again. Hey, Kay Polar says, what camera are you using for your live stream? It is so clear. I am using an iPhone 11 for the live stream. Hey, Tanya's here that's visiting New York. Says, what do you think about the new Summit One Vanderbilt observation deck? Is it worth the visit? So I've never been personally, but I know a lot of people who have, and they absolutely love it. So in my opinion, I would say give it a go. If you don't do the One Vanderbilt, I think the top of the Empire State Building is a classic. I haven't been since I was, but I would definitely at least do one of the observation decks, but I've never been to the One Vanderbilt yet. But supposedly it's awesome. So I would say do it. I would say do it. So speaking of the One Vanderbilt, you can see the top of it right there. Oh, Cosmo Scary says, I highly recommend the Edge at Hudson Yards. So whatever Cosmo says, I'm all in. So whatever he says, let's do it. Benny Bell, what's up, Benny Bell? Says, we should reward those here illegally, while those are the citizens scraping by with low income. Or we shouldn't, I think Denny said. Maryland says, Apple stock at 161. Oh, so everybody, look where we are. We are outside. This is the best Christmas display, in my opinion, the Saks Fifth Avenue right here. So when this is on, all of this goes crazy right here. Tanya says, I'm so excited. I'm excited for you to be here too. Hey, Shop by Scott is here. What's up, Scott? Scott is our fellow friend from Miami. Pat Waters says, Summit One is better than the top of the Rock and the Empire State Building. This is Pat. Damn, you guys are making me really want to go. Hey, True says, what's up, Tom? What's up, True? Good to have you here. Alan Pickett says, FB Facebook. I think the ticker symbol now is different because it is Meta. Facebook changed their name to Meta. Cosmo Scary says, I highly recommend the Edge at Hudson Yards. Yeah, whatever Cosmo says, let's do it. Anything that Cosmo says, I'm in. 2 feet first. I'm in. head first, diving in head first. Oh, look at this cop on the horse. That looks beautiful. Wow. Those things are massive. So my dad was actually telling me a story about one of these horses. He was saying when he was a kid, he used to go into the city and watch the ball drop in Times Square. And one of his buddies was talking back to one of the police officers on this horse. And the police officer did something with the, what do they call it, the reins of the horse? And the horse spins around and nails my dad's friend in the face with the horse's head, and it cracked his jaw. So those horses are powerful. So if you want to get a cracked jaw, you know, talk back to one of the NYPD officers on the horse. Alan Pickett Meta, yes. So now we are at Rockefeller Center, 30 Rock, where you have tree here. Hey, Denny Bell says, thank you for having a great topic of conversation along with the tours. Very enlightening. Hey, Denny Bell, thank you for being here. I don't think we've seen you on the channel before. So it would be a pleasure if you would join us the next time. The Mighty Bull is here. What is it, the Mighty Bull? Lucas says, that police officer is a time traveler from the 1800s. Hey, Dante Rose says, thanks for streaming, Tom. No problem, Dante. Pat Waters says, don't run because he will catch you. I promise, I know. Hey, War Walker's still here. What's up, War Walker? Good to see you. Hey, we got Daniel G here from Buenos Aires, Argentina. So Daniel, I was actually looking for you in the chat because the topic of today's stream is a software company called Monday.com. And I wanted to ask your opinion, Daniel G. Oh, she just fell. That's not good. So I wanted to ask your opinion, Daniel G, on your opinion of low-code and no-code architecture. Do you think it's going to take off? And do you see any value in it? Right now, Monday is growing their revenue or their top line extremely fast. 95% year-over-year revenue growth. But right now, they are not profitable. So Daniel G, since you are a developer, you know, thinking about, you know, you probably use products from Atlassian, Jira software. So do you see value in this new trend of no-code or low-code architecture? EBITDA says people falling is always funny. Ice, New York City streams, get more. Michelle McGraw says, I would break my neck for sure. I would break my neck too. Loved One says, I love stopping in to check out what part of New York City you're visiting. Fellow New York City native here. Hey, Loved One. That's awesome. Thank you for joining. David says, Burr, I feel cold hearing the wind through the mic. I'm freezing tonight, guys. Freezing. Hey, Karen Rojas, is the tree up yet? Yeah, so the tree is right behind all this scaffolding right here. Hey, Marilyn Ringle, how are you? Hey, David says, go back to Miami, bro. So David, we'll be back in Miami very soon, in about a week. Daniel G says, I use Jira products every day. Atlassian. Very cool. Lucas says, how does the ice not melt? I know it's cold right now, but it's not that cold. I think there's a freezer, some sort of freezer material underneath. Roz, we probably will get copyrighted, but after the streams, I always just mute the music at this part of the stream. shot by Scott's is I hope you left the faucet dripping. Scott's is New York City. Ain't too proud. Troy 1995 says Tom is just recent quarterly earnings report, their cash flow statement, everything. So I probably should have told you guys before at the beginning of the stream when we were talking about the financials. But nonetheless, you guys can rewatch the stream if you want. Check it out. Sam says, Tom, what brings you back to New York? So Sam, it is Thanksgiving. It is Thanksgiving here in the United States on Thursday, so I'm back in New York to have dinner with my family and hang out until Monday. And then Tuesday of next week, I'll be back in Miami. And then I'm actually going to Las Vegas. Jay says, hey Tom, ready for your family's Thanksgiving dinner? I'm ready. Alan says, don't wait to buy stocks and wait. I guess it just depends on the type of stocks. BD, my buds Val and Tino, good vibes. All right, everybody. So my phone is on 10% battery, and I need my phone in order to get on the train. So I must end the stream. Josh D says, Tom, are you permanently in Miami now? I must have missed a few streams. Yeah, so Josh, I am in Miami, but I will be in New York at least 1 week out of each month, depending on clients' needs and things like that. But everybody, I do have to end the stream. I apologize, we have to cut it short today. It's only going to be a 2-hour stream tonight. Charlie Richardson says, any orange juice? Very soon. EBITDA says, have a good one, Tom. I'm serious about starting that fund. Dude, I'm serious too. If you send me an email at wallstreetscapebro@gmail.com or add me on LinkedIn. Send me your link to your LinkedIn for sure. But everybody, thank you for joining. I appreciate it very, very much. The topic of tonight's stream was Monday.com. So if you want to see a full analysis on that company, feel free to rewatch the stream. Also, if anybody wants to read a free financial newsletter, the Behind the Street newsletter that I always write every week, if you type !NEWS news in the chat, it'll drop a link to the newsletter. You can feel free to sign up if you want. And I'll see you guys in the next one. I'll probably see you tomorrow. And if not, have a happy Thanksgiving to everybody who celebrates Thanksgiving. I appreciate everybody being here. Feel free to subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I will see you all in the next one. But most importantly, have a good night to the mighty bull, wherever you are, because there's always a bull market somewhere. You just need to know where to look. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.